WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, Jerome and Tanner. Let's do it. Jerome and Tanner.
It's the podcast time. You do it. It's weird. I don't want to do it. It's not me.
All right. It's another edition of the WCB Podcast. It's Jerome. It's Tanner. Was that so hard, Tanner?
Sounds like it's not as hard as it is, but it's just felt too awkward.
One of these days, you're gonna play host duties, and you're just gonna be in charge of the entire episode, and you run with it.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's an off-season thing.
All right, what's going on, bud?
Nothing. Just another week of me staring at prospects, waiting for something to happen. Something to click and just be like, now I've got it. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, ooh, but this guy does look really good, though.
The best and worst thing I did was get us Elite Prospects Premium. Yeah, because I swear to God, every time I walk by you at work, you're on it, just reading away, just looking at it. And then I think you've been back on Frondel, Martone, back to Frondel, back to Martone, all just today within 2 hours.
A little Roger McQueen tossed in there. And then also I'm looking at who's available at 25 and seeing the past drafts, who they've taken in the late first round, where those guys were actually sitting in that kind of prospect range on elite prospects. And I'm just they don't really go for the guys that are sitting there at 25 on these lists. They're getting guys in the mid 30s or 40s, and it's turning out pretty good. Other than Boisvert was only I think 23, and they got him at 18. That's probably the least stretch that they made.
Well, we were saying, I was looking back at previous draft guides from them and didn't realize Nolan Allen was an 83 ranked that they took at 32. That was Stan too, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that was the Seth Jones trade.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a different.
The first Seth Jones trade. That was the Bowman Seth Jones trade.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at going through who could be there at 25, it's I don't put a lot of stock into that because I'm not convinced they're selecting at 25. I think they're either gonna trade up or trade out.
Trade out, trade down. I think it's likely to be packaged.
Yes.
Even if it is that kind of not so sexy package that we saw last year where they moved from 20 to 18, whatever. But I mean, they have so many picks. They can probably still go maybe from 25, go back to 18 again, just for a third year. Why not? Let's keep drafting at 18. Seems to work. Oliver Moore, Sasha Boisvert, maybe you.
I mean, too, and we saw, I sent it to the group chat, the video that the Blackhawks put out, cooking with Kyle Davidson, and it's just him oh shit, oh fuck, this is bonkers. We were able to get him, it's working out. It's just every draft, that was 3 drafts with him, and he's just he's got a plan, and he's not afraid to try to go make it happen. So it's going to be really interesting how this draft shapes up because what seems like there should be a bunch of locks. I really don't think there is. I think it is legitimately a free for all. I think even Schaefer and Misa 1-2 might not even be 1-2.
Yeah, it's again one of those funny things where everybody's so certain it's 1-2, but everybody was so certain it was going to be Bedsy Fantilli 1-2. That didn't happen. So the more and more I keep seeing it, because obviously we're looking so deep into it, but it's always just this guy says it's Schaefer and Misa. This guy says it's Schaefer and Misa. The more and more I'm it's not going to end up being that. It's not going to end up being that way.
No. And I forgot who tweeted it out, but I saw somebody talking about how because it was talking about Higgins and how he could possibly drop to 5 or 6, and the person said that these playoffs are going to have a lot of teams earlier in the draft overcompensating for like the size, and a lot of these skill guys that should be going top 5 are gonna probably fall to like 6 to 10 and all that kind of stuff, which is nuts.
Anybody that's pretty much in that top 10 range that's more of a skill guy. I mean, I'd say anybody that's probably top 20 that's a more of a skill guy and, you know, not over 6 feet, they could drop a bit, and it's only nothing that they've done wrong. It's just all recency bias with what like these two teams in the playoffs have shown.
Yeah.
Like the big guys are getting it done right now, but that's not always the case.
And that could be one of those things too, where that's 25th pick and Kyle Davidson's ability to be aggressive to move up in the draft could come advantage, where we could get a size guy at 3, and there could be somebody that he likes skill wise still available, and they're like, all right, well, let's go make this happen with our massive surplus of draft picks. So it's like
just Martone at 3 and Higgins at 25.
See, I know we're not talking our new rankings until like the week of the draft, but like there's another that Victor Eklund is another guy that I've been kind of really looking at and talking about his skill and all that kind of stuff, that you might be able to get him if you want to move up into that like mid teens area, if you're able to even.
I don't even want to look into it right now.
Well, you got a couple weeks.
It's already going to put me down the further rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, definitely look into it. Do your research on him, because he's a winger, and as we'll talk about here in a little bit, that's going to be a plus in the eyes of the Blackhawks. But this past weekend, there was the draft combine in Buffalo, and not as many wheeling and dealing as I was thinking there was going to be.
I think it's just chatter, you know.
Yeah, like not
just
as much
planting seeds.
Not as much came out though as I thought was going to. I thought there's going to be a little bit more like, oh, this team's working on this packet, you know, and is really connected to this player. You really didn't hear that the way they were kind of making it out to seem like it was going to be.
I think the biggest thing I heard was the possibility of doing a sign-in trade for Mitch Marner, like get him on an 8-year extension and then a trade. But like also with just the way this whole thing's gone down, it's also like why would Marner care to help at all?
Dude,
like,
could they give him a sign and trade with a no trade clause, and then he signs it, and then they go to try to trade him, and he's like, no, veto?
I don't know. I think that they absolutely could do that, but I think that the issue would be the trade clause starts July 1st. So if they sign the extension before then, the trade clause doesn't start until, because he's technically still like a UFA. Yeah. Like they just have the ability to sign the 8-year deal before July 1st.
That would be so funny though. Like,
yeah, he signs it under the assumption that he can do that. And then he's like, I veto the trade. And they're like, you can't do that. It's not July 1st. And he goes, fuck, I never wanted this. Like he's bluffing the way that Mikko Rantanen was.
Yeah, that'd be so fucking funny. But yeah, I don't see him helping out Toronto in that kind of way. I think it'll just be like the fact that he wouldn't waive for them earlier to like, not like they ever sent him somewhere shitty. Like there's the rumor that came out, it was supposed to be like there's a 3-way trade that was coming very close where he was going to end up in Vegas, Ronson was going to end up in Toronto, and Carolina was going to end up with pieces, but would end up with like $10 million in cap space. And that was, I don't know if that was the exact one he vetoed or if there's other pieces that couldn't come together for that. But I just think if it's either Toronto signs him or he's just testing, I don't think he's looking to be that middle guy, help out, you know, how about the hometown team?
Yeah, no, I think like after all these years and probably even with the more recent ones with all the stuff he's gone through, he's probably like, all right, I'm pretty much over this. Like I wanted to do it, but now, no.
Yeah. The other little tidbit, and then we'll get into hot talk here though, is that Dallas might be moving Jason Robertson, and that's an interesting take, and because I saw one thing, so they're looking to make room to re-sign Granlund, and I'm like that's kind of a weird trade-off.
Maybe because they like the way that Granlund played with Rantanen.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
like they had that whole finish line that they were using with Hintz and Granlund and Rotten. But is it like I don't know. That's kind of crazy though, because like I feel like Robertson's on a pretty solid deal, and he basically changed his game for them because he was like over 100-point player, and then they asked him to be more of a two-way guy, and then he's like, okay, and just fucking.
Yeah, he currently has. Well, he's got one more year, and then he's an RFA, and he's at 7,750,000.
Yeah, and then I wonder if it's just them thinking like, get something good for him now before they come into like really deep shit with cap trouble.
I guess it doesn't look. I guess now looking at that, for some reason, I thought he was signed a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he was the one that held out a little bit, right? Because they couldn't get a deal.
I don't think so. What does it say like when the contract was signed? What's the date on that bad boy?
October 5th. So yeah.
Okay.
So he missed training camp.
Which is crazy because like only signed him for like $7 million. When was it signed? What year?
2022.
22
for 4. So it was a 4-year deal, 775.
And he had 109 points that season. He just had 79, and then he had 109, and then the last 2 seasons he's had 80.
So I guess
the
next thing to ask is to make it about the Blackhawks. For the right deal, do you make that trade?
See, here's the thing again. When it comes to the Hawks' future, like I think that you would have to move on early from a big piece, which would be like Oliver Moore or somebody, because once this contract is up, this current one, like Jason Robertson's getting like 12 plus million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because he's that good. Yeah, you would. It's just tough to like immediately go into that. Like we know that Bedard's going to get paid. We know when Nazar is going to get paid, and like those are fine because that's internal. And I just feel like it's a little too soon to go that much in on that type of player.
But if you could get a Jason Robertson,
it's like,
right? But it's like, what do we? But then it's like you don't have to really go and overpay or make a signing for a vet winger. You can almost negotiate this and work it around a little bit better, because I think it's a little bit easier, I think, to re-sign him and make it work considering he's an RFA.
Dude, honestly, now that I'm looking at it too, you could just make that. You could let that rip. He could fucking get 12. Like, easy. Why not? Because you get him. Because that's what we were saying about Marner. I was like, if it's under 13, then it's like, okay, whatever, deal with it. But like with Jason Robertson, I would be completely fine now that I'm thinking about it. Like, yeah, like you're going to have, after this upcoming season, Foligno, Dickinson, Mikheyev, Joe Veleno, like Lucas Reichel. Those are the forwards that are coming, that literally are going to be off of their deals.
At least 2 of those are for sure probably not coming back unless they're taking major.
Yes.
Well, one would have to take a major. Dickinson would have to take a major.
Those were also like overpays to keep to
no exactly yeah
for sticking with us too.
But they're not gonna be getting that.
Plus there's the Shea Weber contract that comes off. Connor Murphy's probably out of here. TJ Brody's done. They're gonna have stupid money to fuck with next year.
But you also got to re-sign Bedard, Nazar, Knight.
Easy. You have close to like 60 million. Here, wait. You have Is this? Wait, is that right? 82 million next season. Not this upcoming season, but the year after. So they have 29 million right now this offseason with no extensions on obviously in place currently or anything. They have 82 million in cap space available for.
No, I believe it. Yeah, because
so
most of the roster is going to be guys like on ELCs, and those are the ones that are coming up.
Or those cheap like contracts after the ELCs that some of these like Kaiser will be on, and like Louis Crevier will be on that. Lucas Reichel's going to probably be on a cheap deal unless he gets moved. Because, like, if honestly you're making a move for Jason Robertson, a lot of people are throwing like Lucas Reichel in there for a lot because, you know, it just feels like a change of scenery for a guy that can probably play pretty well. I'd still like to see what he does with Blashill. But, I mean, if you're going to get fucking Jason Robertson, let it rip.
Oh, yeah, dude. Look at that. I mean, all we have under contract for next season, the following season, 26, 27, forward is Bertuzzi, Teravainen, Oliver Moore, and Slaggert.
And it's gonna be Bedsy and Nazar, like
right, but I'm just saying, like, as of this moment right now.
Yeah.
And then the defense is Vlasic, Levshunov, Renzel, and then no goalie signed.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's almost like a clean slate.
Yeah, I know I'm so anti Mitch Marner coming to Chicago and all that kind of stuff. And I always say, like, it's not the right year. I think it's a different situation because Robertson's
4 years younger.
He's younger, and he's the type of player that I think would be more. He's shown to be a team player. Like you talked about, he has adjusted his game to what the team needs. And
he's also 6'3". I didn't even realize that. I've always felt like he's smaller, but I think that's Nick Robertson that's a little bit smaller. But yeah, he's 6'3". He's a fucking beast, dude.
And I don't know.
Him on the left side with Bedsy, fuck.
He could play right wing too, so you could put him with Misa and Bedsy.
Yeah. I like where your head's at. Or what if it's Bedsy with Jason Robertson and Porter Martone? Just Bedsy down the middle with 2 6'3" guys on the fucking left and right.
Bedsy, Martone, and then Robertson, and then Nazar, Teravainen, and we still somehow get Misa, and he's still there too.
He just refuses to sign wherever he's at. It's like, all right, take me to Chicago.
But yeah, I mean, it's like if you're looking to, I know it sounds like very like hypocritical to say like, oh, go spend the money on a Robertson. I think it's a very valid different point than going for a Marner. And Marner might be a great guy and all that kind of stuff, but it's just from the outside looking in, just seeing the, you know, the whole, how the drama is with the Maple Leafs and stuff like that. I don't get that from Jason Robertson. And I feel like that would be a much better fit for this team. And it's like he comes in, there's no ego with him, which would be a huge thing, which is what some of the issues is with, you know, Seth Jones and other guys coming in here thinking that they deserve a whole lot more.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy looking at this because, like I said, when they asked him to focus more on defense, this is where it makes sense. That 1 year where he had 109 points, he took 313 shots, and then the next season he almost had 50 goals. By the way, he had 46 goals that season, and then the next season when he only had 29, he took 231 shots, so almost like 80 shots less. And then this past season, he took 211. So he was more of like deferring and passing the puck, and then I'm sure playing just better defense. Because he also, I guess the Selke, I don't know if they released the nominations. Did they?
Did they already award the Selke?
They did. Yeah, because it was Barkov, remember?
Yeah, so I thought I saw the Selke votes.
He didn't get any votes for the Selke this year. But last year, that's so crazy. Last year, he came in 14th, I think it said, in Selke voting. With the year prior, he was 20th in Selke voted. And then he was 14th the year last year. And then all of a sudden, he didn't get any votes this year. I don't know why, but I'm sure his defense didn't really fall off. Oh, he had a lot of giveaways this year. That's interesting. Not as many takeaways and a lot of giveaways. What happened? Whatever. I'll fucking take him.
So the question is,
he needs to change the scenery. Let's go.
The question is, what would you give up?
Just Lucas Reichel. That's it. Just to change the scenery swap. Let's go.
Reichel in the 25th.
Yeah. And
Florida.
I mean, you could give them like if they want Jason Dickinson too.
Send him back to Dallas.
Could be. I forgot that he was drafted there. I love Jason Dickinson. It's just like he's kind of our only good veteran trade piece.
And I feel like it sucks because he is a good piece for our team, but I also feel like he's just falling. He's like odd man out. He's turned into that position, And it might just be because he was hurt at the end of the season, and that's
all it was.
And there's a bunch of young kids that aren't going to be there this year to start at least.
Yeah, because even looking at their current roster, like not showing like guys they have to sign or don't have to sign or whatever. Right now, down the middle, they would have Rupe Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, and then if they had Jason Dickinson there at 3, that's pretty solid center core.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I would be really.
I'm sure it's going to cost a lot for Jason Robertson because obviously.
Would you give up 3?
No, but I would give up maybe like a prospect that they'd be really interested in if it was like a Nick Lardis or like a Roman Kanserov or anyone that was kind of in that recent second, third round range that like they'd be like even like Ryan Green, or if they wanted a goalie, which I doubt it, but Gayen maybe.
Bonsoir.
Oh yeah, dude, give him a fucking backup. Do they have Wedgwood signed?
No, they traded Wedgwood.
That's right. It's Casey DeSmith. They have another year.
Because remember, Colorado collected all the wood.
That's right. I feel like they could get a little upgrade with Boissois.
So, well, now let's get to our actual outline that we talked about 20 minutes in. Talk about the Combine. There's a lot of different reports. We already talked about some of the rumors and stuff with that around the NHL. An interesting one that came out was Ken Robinson of Elite Prospects says that the Hawks are eyeing Michael Misa and have even reached out about trading up to make this happen. Now,
that's hilarious.
Love hearing that the Hawks are interested in it, but I told you I don't know if I buy the report because that just goes completely against what KD does. Like, you don't know what. Like Katie keeps things to the chest.
Yes.
So a random, like not saying he's random, but just like a non-Chicago reporter or hockey journalist or whatever reports something on the Blackhawks. I don't know how much I believe it.
I think with what Ben Pope has to say, just a little snippet of his article in the Sun-Times where this isn't about Misa, but this just goes with like, when people say things about the Hawks and how it may not be true. This one paragraph is just people around the league have speculated Martone might not interest the Hawks because his subpar skating and inconsistent play don't fit their recent track record of focusing on elite skaters with high work ethic. But Davidson suggested he might diversify what he's looking for this year. So it's always like people putting words in the mouth of the Blackhawks and not necessarily the Blackhawks saying those things and people overhearing them.
And for all we know, Katie, what these people, everybody's reporting, I could 100% see him saying, yeah, going to there. Katie's playing the whole, we do this. We might do this. Yeah. We might not do this, but we might do it.
I mean, we might be interested in that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's no privacy in Buffalo.
Yeah, he talked about to the Ben Pope. There's a lot that I took away from the Ben Pope article. Speaking, Kyle Davidson did say that and this is what he told him. So who knows? Again, Katie, got to take what they say with a grain of salt because they are very secretive. Said that internal rankings have not been determined yet. That they're going to take a couple weeks, probably the week of the draft. They're going to reconvene and discuss what the combine, the interviews, and all that kind of stuff, and kind of reassess where they're thinking with 3. But he also said there's a lot of different variables out there that go into making this pick. Like when we talked about last week is San Jose and the Islanders could fuck it all up and not go like, Michael Misa and what's Schaefer's first name? Matthew Schaefer, or who are the projected 1-2. They might go off the board and go someone else. So then all of a sudden one of those players following you in 3. And then it's like you can get that player at 3, or you have even more ammo for a team that wants like a Schaefer to be like, hey, he's here for you. What do you like? Make it worth our while. We'll trade you the pick. Like there's so much in play that even if they have a plan and the plan is we want Misa, it can all go up in smoke.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny. I'm just excited. And that's every day. It's just like, just make the trades now. Let me know if it's going to happen.
The other thing too, they were talking about was everybody's like, oh, Michael Misa raised eyebrows when he said that he's gone out to dinner with 4 of the 5 top 5 picks, and the 5th one being that he didn't go out with was the Chicago Blackhawks, and everybody's like, oh, the Blackhawks aren't even doing it because they didn't meet with Higgins, they didn't meet with this person. They felt that Kyle Davidson came out and said that we didn't feel we need to do dinners. We got all the information we needed during the interview. We talked to 60 plus prospects, and there's no privacy in Buffalo to have those conversations and have a really good like opportunity to talk to them one-on-one. Like the year they drafted Bedard, he said that they had to sneak him through a private entrance of the restaurant that they met, and they like sat in a private section so they could have the conversation. So it's
pretty funny.
Stop trying to make an issue because the Hawks didn't do something.
I remember I was reading something else. I think it was about Brady Martin and how like he was the darling of the Combine, where like everybody loved his interviews and really loved what he had to say, and just think that like he's really upped his draft stock because like of the way he plays, where he's just fucking banging bodies left and right. But it said something like he had met with or he was like gone out with 31 of the teams, and I was like, I wonder which team was missing.
Yeah, I just why like I don't bugs the shit out of me. Like they try to make more out of nothing. You already talked about the possibility of moving away from their standard over the past few years of fast high-end skaters, which hey, you only need so many. We talked about that. Me and you, like what are you gonna do? Full ice, full arena cycle and just keep the puck moving like really fast and all that kind of stuff. Like you don't need 5 fucking fastest skaters out there.
Yeah, you only need really, in the Justice League, you only need 1 Flash, and that's it. We basically have a Flash on every line. Like I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. And then the last like really big thing that came out of that article that we haven't really talked about yet, and that's going to really play an effect on the draft strategy here, I think. Potentially. That's just like from context of what we're seeing.
Before you say this, I do want to mention the quote that he had that had to go along with that Martone part.
Yes, go ahead.
Because he did say, we do have a lot of players that are similar in their strengths. In some respects, I think that's how you build identity. In others, you can bring in players, if you've got enough already, that it's not going to take away from the core strength of your team. So you can bring in players that have a different skill set that are more of a complementary piece. That's definitely something we're considering. So that's in relation to the Martone talk, where everybody's like, the Hawks are not going to take Martone because he doesn't fit their mold. It's like, I mean, he's absolutely one of the more perfect complementary pieces for what they've already been building.
Yeah.
The kid has high vision, insane hands, great shot. And eventually, I know he's like not big on using his size. You can teach him how to use it.
100%.
And when it comes to the playoffs, like you get pushed around enough and you're that big, you're going to get a little pissed off and you'll probably start fighting back a bit. Like, I think you'll be fine.
And here's the thing too, like if you're talking about you on size and all that kind of stuff, it's like you're going to have to go against your strategy. And then for a while until these players developed, you're going to have to go out and get in free agency with those guys and trades for those guys, like until those players, because it's not like you're going to have an 18-year-old kid come in and all of a sudden he's Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't happen overnight. So it's like you're going to need to maybe take a little bit raw of a player to come in and mold him to the style that you want him to play in terms of like the aggressiveness and all that too.
Yeah.
But Martone, got me back on him too. Like,
hey man. And that goes into the next thing that you were about to bring up where Davidson talked about our centers.
Yeah. So, Davidson talked saying that the Hawks absolutely view Bedard and Nazar as centers, and they have no intention as of now to move one of them to the wings. So that means 1A, 1B is pretty much set on who they want to be. That Nazar eventually future 1B. I think Nazar could potentially play some 1C, all that kind of stuff, just depending on who they bring in. But I think those are the two guys up the middle. What?
I was confused when you were saying 1A, 1B, and then 1C. So I'm like, well, 1C and 2C.
That's what I meant. 1C, 2C. You know what I mean? Yeah, but
yeah, and then it's funny because it just says that the likelihood of their draft pick playing center it's probably not going to matter much to them. Like they might take a center, but like might ask them to move to the wing or who knows.
So, I mean, that's going to take out a lot of these guys that people are like, oh, my God, he's going to be the pick. He's got to be the pick. It's like, no, you got Martone. Misa still fits because he does play wing too. So there's that. But it's like you got to look at like the Martone and that Victor Eklund. And there's another guy that
Roger McQueen.
Yeah. So it's like,
I think he plays a little bit of center too. I think he's mainly just like forward center.
Yeah, it's just weird. He's just listed as forward.
Yeah, you can play any of it.
So it's a lot, there's a lot.
I think the only thing they're going to hopefully not do is draft a defenseman at 3. And it's working out where unless somehow, some way Schaefer's there instead, it's like we're likely getting a high skill forward now.
If Schaefer's still there when they're drafting at 3, dude, they're going to get a fucking haul to move out of that spot.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They could. Or you can just draft Schaefer and just be like, fuck it. We'll just win every game with our defense.
No, that's not fun.
Yeah, I guess
we need someone sexy up front.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lots to digest. We're still about 17 days away, 16 days when this gets posted from the actual first round. So I'm sure we're gonna hear a million different things and we're gonna change our minds a million times. But like I said, next week we won't come back with our rankings. We're gonna do our final ranking.
We should do our rankings for who we want at 25.
We could do that if you want.
If we use that pick. If we use 25, who are we getting?
That's week. Or do you want to do like a mock draft for the first 2 rounds?
No.
Oh, okay. So next week we'll bring our ranking for 25, and then the following week will be our final ranking for 3.
Sure.
All right. The other really news that came out since we last recorded, well, there's a couple things. Yes, but the big one is Chicago Sportsnet has officially joined Xfinity. The biggest is the largest cable provider in the Chicagoland area, so it's going to be a huge step up in terms of viewership compared to last year when it was just over the antenna. The shitty part about this is in order to get it on Comcast, you have to pay for Comcast's highest package. That is the ultimate tier. So if you already have Comcast, it's going to be an additional $20 to your cable bill on top of whatever you're paying already. I priced it out for myself, just curious. I'm not doing it, but I was just curious how much it would be. It would be about $120 for me to have it. I saw some people talking upwards of like $180 for them to upgrade to get that. The thing that makes it even worse is they talked about when this network was launched that the over-the-air option was going to be around for a while, and it was going to be an option no matter what they were going to do in terms of, getting on major cable and all that kind of stuff. Well, that lasted one season as they announced that the Chicagoland area will be sunsetting the over-the-air channels, which I actually think is already in effect. I don't know if they're still.
I mean, there's no point in like turning it on. There's no like Hawks game on, but I guess there is like White Sox games currently.
So there's no reason to turn it on.
But it is pretty funny if you like got it all set up for like you're a big Sox fan, and then it's like the season just kind of started, and you're like, all right, watching all these games, you're like, fuck.
Well, that's my fiance's dad is a big Sox fan, and he saw the antenna watching the Hawks. He's like, "Is this where the Sox are?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "This is awesome. It's free." He goes, "I'm not paying for this crappy team." And I go, he sets up the exact same antenna that I have and all that, and they get like 2 months into the season, and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's just so dumb. And the other thing that kind of really bugs me too is that there's no change in the app price. So they do offer a CHSN app where it's $20 a month if for a single team, or $29 for all three teams. It's like
what a deal.
It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't understand how they can't find a way to make this easier for people to watch. Like, you're charging them regardless. Or it's like, what about Noli, I think, is the one that said it. Like, he's like, what about all the loyal fans that jump through hoops to make these antennas work? And, like, it's not like it's like a simple, like, okay, just plug it in and here you go. Like, some of it does take work to find the signal and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you jump through hoops to make that happen. And now it's like, okay, give us more money, please.
I mean, like, I think it's just them because of the viewership, right? Getting completely fucked because people were just bitching about it being free. So they have to basically bend the knee to Xfinity and go that route. And I'm sure it's part of the contract that they build with Xfinity that you can't do it for free over the air.
Yeah. And
so that's just where it all comes from. I honestly don't think it would be like, okay, cool, now we got this deal with Xfinity. We're just going to turn this off now on our own volition. Like, I don't think that's how it went down.
You would hope so, but I also could totally see Reinsdorf doing something like that.
It's true.
Like, I wouldn't put it past him to make that move. It just sucks when you look at all the other teams, like, like Dallas does it so good. I think their streaming's free.
Yeah.
I think Vegas
Anaheim's on it.
Yeah, I think Vegas is like $1 or something like that a month. Like, it's just, there's no reason why in this day and age, especially like you're talking about, like, you want to grow the game and all that. And it's like, well, to grow the game, you got to reach the younger market, and the younger market is going through streaming.
Yeah. And it's funny, you would assume that, like, if you're paying $20 to watch this team on a monthly basis, that you probably won't be getting ads, but I guarantee you do.
1,000%.
Like, that's why those other streaming services are free or extremely cheap, is because, like, they got ads. Like,
I would sit through ads. Revenue. Yeah, I would sit through ads all time. Like,
so now they want to play ads as well as charge $20 a month for the 31st team in the league.
Yeah, if you're a winning team, I feel like it's a lot easier to ask.
Yeah.
But it just sucks being like true fans, like the two of us, like, oh, we love this team, we watch and all that. And now it's like, cool, now we got to go jump through hoops again, finding streams or something, to like make it work again. Like it's like we had it was fine with the antenna. Like
got to get the father-in-law's login for Xfinity.
Oh God.
Do the Xfinity stream.
Yeah, so
I'm not paying $180 just to be able to watch the Hawks. Like I'm not paying $20 a month for a fucking streaming app.
Literally would not use it for anything other than watching the Hawks. That's all I would use cable for. Everything I watch is already on the million other streaming sites there are.
Everything I watch now is actually on the fucking over-the-air channels.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like, all right, fuck it. Just turn it
on. The last thing I have for Hawks news, Chris Johnston talked about Nikolaj Ehlers could be a fit in Chicago or Carolina if he hits the open market. I think that I think that's like a good safe like option for the Hawks. I mean, he's projected like 6 years, $8 million. He's a consistent guy. He can fit in the top 6. Could give good offensive support, for Bedsy and Nazar, whoever he ends up playing with, kind of thing. But again, us back to what we started talking about. It's hard to know what they're even thinking about because the game plan is so tight-lipped.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. He's okay. I want like Jason Robertson though.
No, yeah, he's definitely top of my list. He's not Besser off for sure.
Let's make that happen. That'd be sweet.
Do you have anything else you want to talk for Hot Stock, or you want to do a quick NHL?
Let's just do NHL.
All right. So, game 1 of the Stanley Cup started last week, which also meant the State of the Union from Gary Bettman comes in and every year before kind of talks about where things are in the league. One of the big questions coming into it was, will he be announcing the new CBA? Because he did mention, I don't know if it was last Cup final or if it was at some point, but he was like, I would like to be announcing the new CBA game 1 of the 2025 Stanley Cup. He says that they have not come to an agreement, but he's very confident one will be made. Every conversation has been productive, no hostility. One of the things that they are looking to address during this next CBA is the use of the LTIR. And they're going to try to, close up some of those loopholes. Didn't particularly say what that meant. There was, I don't know who said it, or if it was just an insider throwing his like opinion what could be done, or if it was smoke to it, but a potential playoff salary cap. So it would be probably a little bit higher than normal salary cap, but still something where teams
you can't go like massively over. I think that would be great, especially because the cap's going up so much anyway. So yeah,
it might not matter.
It might not, but I mean the contracts are soon to follow the cap growth, so it'll eventually get back to making sense.
The other thing he talked about was, are they going to address the income tax unbalance? And he said that they were not even considering that. Before game 3, was it that he even like Biz asked him about it in person because he was on the pregame show, and he did bring up a good point that he's like, it's ridiculous that 17 years ago when both Florida teams were not good, didn't hear a single person complain about not having income tax.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's like, that is a very valid point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy because like now that they're good though, they're able to retain these good players at lower cap hits because of where they are. Like it wasn't an attractive destination because they sucked.
Yeah.
Like players want to play on good teams, and now these good teams are in low tax states. It's like, yeah, like I want to go play there for sure. And that's where you get guys signing deals like fucking Matthew Tkachuk signing for like less than 10. You get fucking Sam Reinhart signing for less than 10.
Yeah, I mean,
Chuck's at 9.5. Reinhardt is at 8.625. Verhaeghe's at 7. Verhaeghe's fucking so underrated, but like he's probably closer to 8.5, 9, like at other places.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Also talked about expansion. He says that they've got a lot of interest, but there's been no formal expansion bid process on the docket yet. So, I mean, good. I feel like 32.
Yeah, pump the brakes on the expansion.
I think you need to look at relocation if it comes to that before expansion. But it's like I don't know. There's a team that's relocatable right now.
Right now, we have half in, half out when it comes to playoffs. And I think that's good.
Yeah.
And then all we got to do, honestly, let's change the playoff format. Let's do it again. Let's go back.
Speaking of the playoff, they was asked if they were any interest in doing a play-in round like the NBA does, and they said absolutely not. They said they had their play-in the last few games of the season when 3 teams were battling out for the final spot. So I like that. I like that they're not going to adjust that. I do wish they would go back to 1 through 8 though.
Yeah, oh yeah. 1 through 8, there's like minor changes that happen, but like I feel like they're better minor changes because like you don't get a first round matchup of Colorado and Dallas.
Yeah. Also mentioned that the Islanders will be still hosting an all-star event in 2027. Or no, I'm sorry. It's gonna be it was announced for 2026 to have the Olympics, but they changed it to 2027. They don't know the format of it just yet, and I think it's the Four Nation kind of play their hand a little bit that they can and should do better than what they typically do with the All-Stars. So it'll be interesting to see with that. And the last thing, there's a lot of speculation he was going to announce his retirement or like when he was going to be done, stepping down as commissioner. And he says, unfortunately for all of you, I don't have any news on that either, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. Jeez.
It's kind of funny, like as much as like you dislike the guy and all that for like other stuff, it's like he's a funny dude.
Yeah, he is. He definitely cracks jokes at his own expense.
Yeah. He had a coach fired.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's another one of those like you probably fire yourself with what you said.
Yeah. Peter DeBoer fired in Dallas. I mean, after the whole famous, I'm not blaming Jake, but it was all Jake's fucking fault. And then to double down on it, talking about like no one's bigger fan of Jake than I am, and then never talk to your star goalie between the time you made the stupid comment to 2 days later at your end of season media availability. I'm surprised it took him as long as they did to fire him.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's because they typically don't do any firings. Like they let the guys' contracts play out. But this time they're like, all right, you got to go. But like, honestly, like it doesn't seem like he's going to get them over the hump. They literally went to 3 Western Conference Finals in a row.
Yeah. Dude, he's gone to 6 of the last 7 Western Conference Finals and lost.
Yeah, he'll get your team there, but good fucking luck getting past it.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Also, what was it? It was 5 games this time, 6 games last time, and 6 games the time before. Like he doesn't even get to a game 7, where in game 7s he's like 9 in a row.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking weird. Just like if he could get to a Western Conference Final game 7, he might be able to pull it off.
Come on, boys, just get us there, and I'll get you that win.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. Whoever. I was just curious that like no teams have like made a move for him because his previous firing, not like this most recent one, or the one before Dallas, but it was when he got fired by San Jose. A week later, he was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because they had gotten rid of Gerard Gallant. I always want to call him Gerard.
Yeah.
But Gerard Gallant, they got rid of him and then hired DeBoer.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, a lot of teams I think are pretty much settled, and I think a lot of teams saw that how much the disdain that there was among the Dallas Stars, because it wasn't just the Jake Ottinger stuff. Like, players specifically talked about stuff that they weren't happy about and all that. So, I mean, you got to feel word spreads around, and a lot of these teams are probably like, let's not bring that in just yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be first man up when somebody gets fired next season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, he'll get your team to the conference final.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna get hired until someone's fired.
How many of those teams that just hired coaches do you think are kind of kicking themselves?
Boston,
Like Boston, yeah.
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh, maybe. Yeah, I guess Pittsburgh would probably want more of a veteran coach to.
in Chicago.
I'm
not
fine
saying
without it.
No, I'm saying, like, from a fan space, we're good, but I'm saying, like, do you think the front office was like, oh, wish we could have talked to him?
I honestly, I just don't think he suits what the Hawks have going right now.
Sure.
Like, the Hawks need development, and that's not what he's been doing. He's been going into teams that are like literally are in the playoffs, and like those teams brought him in trying to get him over the hump. I wonder if it's just like now it's a little tainted because it's like everybody knows he can't really get you all the way there.
Yeah.
Just got outcoached 6 of the last 7 years in the Western Conference Final.
All right, moving on. A little award season update. So first off, it looks like they're have all the awards announced this Thursday before Game 4, with a little special. So they're going to announce all the major ones that they haven't, which would be like the Hart, the Vezina, the Norris, and all that. Little leak that it looks like Hellebuck might have won the Hart and Vezina. There was a picture going around that looked like he was taking a picture with the Vezina. Yeah. Or, I'm sorry, the Hart. So that'll be interesting to look out for. But so far, Selke, Barkov, Calder Trophy today was Lane Hudson. I mean, Celebrini is so much better than Bedard. Like, why was he not there? He clearly must have came in.
He was hurt.
He really must have came in second, right? Like, if it was a close vote, no, you fucks. He came in third.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was hurt this year.
Yeah, so was Bedard, his rookie season. Bitches.
I mean, honestly, though, if Lane Hudson had the same year last year, I think he probably would have beat Bedard. But Bedard was also hurt for 14 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good fucking year, dude. Yeah. Lane Hudson's sick.
Spencer Carberry won the Jack Adams.
That makes sense.
So that leaves the Vezina, the Norris, Ted Lindsay. Oh no, Ted Lindsay was Kucherov.
I wonder what the voting was for the Jack Adams, because Scott Arniel would have been a really good choice too. The coach of the Jets.
He was a finalist.
I obviously he should have been. They won the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
And the team was not expected to be that good.
And then Kucherov won the Ted Lindsay with his weird shaven face.
Yeah. He looks like a guy from Barstool. I swear. Just like if he had just said that he, I don't know, fucking produced a podcast, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
And then the last one that was kind of emotional was the Bill Masterson, which went to Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau's wife. Meredith was the one that presented it to him and told him. So really fucking emotional on that one.
Yeah, dude. When they fucking make these videos, it feels like it's some sort of Bravo series.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I'm like, is this like fucking Real Housewives of the NHL or something? It's so strange.
But it's so much better than the stupid award shows.
It is. I do think I like it better because honestly, it's only 3 minutes and you know what's going to happen. But it's kind of more interesting to see how they present it to them.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
And there's still and then people are probably, oh, well, they're doing an award show before Game 4. Well, no, it's this. What they're going to do is the exact same thing. they're just not going to post the major trophy, like the awards on social media first. They're going to post it, I believe, on the show like beforehand, and then it's going to go on social media. So it's going to be the same style, like surprise and, you know, all that kind of stuff, which A+, one of the best things that NHL has done in a minute. All right, let's wrap this up here with a quick final update. Series is 2-1 in favor of Florida. You got your wish. A much more interesting start to the series, back-to-back overtime.
That's right.
Overtime games. And then you get a little bit of everything now. Then in game 3, you get the goddamn fucking slap shot, you know, pregame fucking brawl. Like, holy shit, 140 penalty minutes. Oilers now hold the record for most penalty kills in a Stanley Cup Final game with 11. I felt like
now the Oilers just won the Conn Smythe for setting a new record.
Yeah. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, I don't know, like, I get what the Oilers were doing, you know, like they're getting blown out, so you got to try to take something from Florida, but I don't know if Florida's the team you want to be trying to mess with that. Like, that's what Florida wants. Like, you're playing into Florida's game with that.
I think it's kind of like they let it all out that game, let out all the aggression that game, and then it's time to refocus and get back to what they do best in game 4. Because if they don't, they're fucked.
And that's what I'm saying. If Florida wins game 4 by more than 2 goals, I think it's done. I think it's a wrap. I think Edmonton's going to be so far in their head at that point that I don't know if I can see back-to-back years of coming. Was Florida up 3-1 or 3-0 last time?
3-0.
Okay. So it wouldn't be like the
and then eventually 3-1.
Yeah. But like, I couldn't remember if Edmonton won a game before.
No, it was 3-0. And then and then they won 3 in a row. But yeah, Sam Bennett's been like absolutely disgusting this playoff.
Hate him all you want. Dude is a fucking baller, man.
Yeah.
That's gold.
And Marchand too has just also been like, it's just every time it feels like they touch the puck, it's like, oh, this is going in. Like, there's nothing that's stopping these guys. It's crazy.
Marchand has the all-time like leader in goals in a Stanley Cup Final.
Is he really?
With 11 or something like that.
So he must have a lot of championships then.
No.
Oh, weird.
Fucking rat. Take the individual awards, but like you said, was it you or Nolan that was like, I hate that it's Conn Smythe could potentially be between Sam or Sam Bennett and Marchand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be funny if like it ended up being like Edmonton wins, but then it goes to like Sam Bennett or Marchand still.
Dude, I just would love. I kind of want, if Florida's gonna win it, I want them to win it in Edmonton, and have Sam Bennett be the Conn Smythe, just to hear Edmonton crowd just fucking lose it.
Dude, if there'll be riots like Vancouver if they win it in Edmonton.
If they don't win it this year, I'm declaring, this is a Jerem guarantee, Canada will never lift the Stanley Cup again.
Never. Okay. Yeah. Okay, bud. That's hilarious.
This is their best shot, and they're not gonna. Who are you gonna do? Toronto? Pff, come on.
It's gonna end up being like Ottawa.
Well, it's gonna be some like expansion team, like Quebec.
They're not expanding in Canada. Are you kidding me?
I know. I'm just saying, like that's how ridiculous Canada winning the Stanley Cup is. It's right up there.
It's in Moose Jaw.
So, all right. You got anything else?
Nope.
323. What are we calling it? Gotta be better.
23.
Gotta be better, Tanner.
It's. I mean, fuck me. What have we done today? I don't know.
Something draft related. Something
That's
draft
what I'm
related.
saying. Well, I was gonna say like we know our 1C and 2C, but
just call it. How about just WCB Podcast Draftcast?
Draft countdown part 2. Draft countdown 3, 4, 5. Jason Robertson to Chicago. Bang.
How about Jason Robinson? You are a Blackhawk.
J Rob the Blackhawk. And then when he actually makes it to the Blackhawks, we'll be like, I can't fucking called it.
All right, make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast feed, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the big 2. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, social media at WCB Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Love you, boys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jerem and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.